We're going to begin the playbook by flashing back last weekend, Arkansas at Auburn. They missed an extra point in the second quarter. They started chasing points. They tried to make up for it by going for two twice, once here in the second quarter, and then this chance in the third. They failed on both conversion attempts. Guess how many points they lost the game by? Two, which brings us to when to go for two in this week's edition of Urban's Playbook. Would you have gone for two at that juncture on the road?
I would not. But also, every head coach has his own philosophy. And his philosophy is practiced in the spring, practiced in the training camp. And then also, there's one guy that you talk to upstairs that has the chart. You can't keep that on the field. When that situation happens, someone tells you, go for two. Obviously, in this situation, Arkansas head coach says, follow the chart, go for two.
As a player, look, you're always looking for opportunities to put the ball in the end zone. But that early, I didn't even like it in this game. And I think the other thing you're concerned by is if you don't get the conversion, it could be a bit deflating to all that momentum you just build up with a score.
All right, so if you're some GA upstairs and you're barking down to the head coach when to go for two, they have to have some kind of like little cheat sheet, right?
Well, first of all, it's not a GA. It's your offensive coordinator, and there's only one person. That's happened a couple of times over the headsets, and I would make sure that person didn't talk
you
again.
just turned him down. You didn't talk to them.
No, I did talk to him. But there's one person. It's usually your offense coordinator. Hey, tell me the point chart. However, there's a two-point chart I want to take a look at. This is the chart that I've been asked about for many, many years. This is it. Very simple. And the numbers here are after a score. For example, you score a touchdown. You're down by one. It's very simple. Kick the extra point. You're down by two. Very simple. Go for two. Those are very simple parts of the chart. However, there's four trumps. I call them trump cards that overrule the chart. And these are mine. Every head coach is different. Number one, prior to the fourth quarter, I'm an offensive coach. I expect to score a lot of points. I don't want to get one of those chasing points situations. Keep scoring. And I think Brady was correct. I've done that before, and I've seen teams lose momentum. You score a touchdown, kick the extra point, keep going. You got momentum. Number two, injuries or fatigue. This is real. Obviously, during the course of the game, you lose your quarterback, you lose your best tailback, the right guard, right tackle. Someone's hurt on your team. You know what? Get rid of this thing. Let's go for two and end it as soon as we can. Number three, home or away. I did that in 2001 at Northwestern. Big crowd. We're down. We said, let's try to end this thing immediately because you don't want to, the crowd keeps getting involved. At some point, you're going to lose the game. And this is the biggest one. Talent differential. You're facing a team that you know, your players know, everyone knows, they're better than you. They have better talent. The longer the game goes, what happens? The most talented team is going to win. And one example of this is back in 2013 in Ann Arbor. We're facing Brady Hoke as a coach. They go for two. They just scored. They're down by one. 32 seconds left, end the game. They run a little three-level pass. Tyvus Powell steps in front. We knew that Coach Hoke was going to make that decision. We had a very talented team that day, that year, and they felt, let's end this thing as soon as we could.
But there's some new trends in when and where to go for two now.
Yeah, there's a few things that I think new school or maybe the analytics approach now is going to look at throughout the course of the game. That's time remaining, point differential, and team-related factors. Something that you mentioned, maybe it's a matchup, maybe it's injury, something along those lines. So let's take a look at that chart again, because I want to go through one scenario, for example, you're seeing more common now. So you just scored a touchdown. You're down by 8. You're trying to decide, am I going to kick the PAT or go for two? New school approach is now saying, what's going to give me the best chance of winning the game in regulation? I'm not trying to prolong the game. If you're a team that converts greater than 50% of your two-point conversions, you go for two. Because even if you miss it and you're down by 8, the next chance you do score and go for two, there's a greater likelihood you get it. So at least at a minimum, you prolong the game then. But if you get it the first time, guess what? Now you're ahead. And the next time you score a touchdown, you kick that PAT because now you go up by,
I'm old school.
It sounds totally like a win with Quinn type attitude, right? That's how you roll.
I think people are looking at their success right now a little bit different and taking that gamble more often than not now, especially for those good teams. But Coach, NCAA football this year, their 40% conversion rate, two-point conversion, is not very good.
And the two-point conversion play is paramount. Nick Saban was talking this week on Zoom. I'm watching our two-point conversion plays throughout the week. As a head coach, do you go in with a full litany of plays, or do you kind of narrow it down?
Well, just visualize this is the most difficult position on the field to score, the 3-yard line. And you have to score. You can't get two, obviously, so you have to get 3 yards. 3-yard line, 3 yards is tough down there. There's no horizontal stretch. You have to be right on. So we would always have one trick play in case you're facing you're out man. You're playing a better team. A trick play, your best run, your best pass. Let's take a look here. This is in 2006, Boise, one of the great plays in college football history. Obviously, they're out man. Oklahoma's got a little bit better players. They run a Statue of Liberty. This is one of the most famous plays in college football history. Game winner, go for 2, end it on the spot.
Did you have any Statue of Liberties in your playbook?
I had some stats. I don't think we ever ran one.
I bet Shelley said, how about a couple of Statue of Liberties?
Yeah, great story about that night. Said, hey, why don't you run plays like that?
Mrs. Meyer wants a little more spice in her offense. That's when to go for 2. They say 1 is the loneliest number, except for when you fail going for 2.
Start your Saturday strong at 10 Eastern with a legendary college football lineup on the Big Noon Kickoff Show. Big Noon Kickoff on Fox.